Hi guys, this is Nikki, also known as Fixed Trader, and you're watching the February 3, 2021 Philippine Market Update. So let's begin. It's a Wednesday, so the Wealth Set Premier, this is the account. You just log in and you take a look at the markets. So the markets in the Philippines is down 8 points, 6,859. Look at the stats today. Just another day in the index. Your market value today is 9.1 billion pesos. With 106 advancers and 110 decliners, you've got net foreign selling remaining at 460 million. So losers continue to slide. You've got Robinson's Retail still down 3%. You've got PLDT and Globe getting sold down 2.5% and 2%. Wait up. Okay, nothing there. Okay, so, and you're seeing that Globe, PLDT, and RRHI falling down. You've got the general index falling down. The only gainer is ICT MPI with a 3% and 2%. Very little gains on your Pure Gold and Mega World as well with just 1%. So why don't we just read the prices for the top 30 index names in the Philippines. ICT 123, SM 1000, SM Prime 37, Ayala Corp 790, your MPI is 425, URC 145, Mega World is 392, Pure Gold is 38.3, Luciatan is 13.5, you've got FGen trading at 30 bucks, Jollibee 180, DMC 538, AGI 10, San Miguel Corp 128, Emperador 10, Meralco 284, BDO 105, Robinson's Land 20, Aboitiz Power 26, Bloomberry 8, Security Bank 132, BPI 83, GD Cap 525, AEV 42, Metro Bank 46, Robinson's Retail is 58, Globe is 2002, JG Summit is 64, PLDT is 1388 and Ayala Land is 3855. So the biggest glaring detail here is that we haven't seen Robinson's Retail trade below 60 in quite a while. Right or wrong? Let's take a look at that. Investograms.com. Okay, so it's a free way to actually use your charting. So most people go there because it's like tradingview.com. Now, of course, you can also use the WealthSec Premier Charts. Take a look at that. So we're going to take a look at RRHI. What exactly is the fault of Robinson's Retail to fall 3%? More importantly, as I said, it wasn't ever below 58 since April 2020. So this is like a long time coming. From April to January, that's about 8 months. So why did Robinson's Retail fall to this mark of 58 bucks, right? But why so low? RRHI. Take a look if there are some interesting news on Robinson's Retail. Let's take a look at the news bits. There's some security bank material information, East West material information. Let's click on that. Okay. And this one, click on that too. You've got a material information on PBCom about an hour ago. ABS is appointing a new COO of ABS-CBN Global. Let's take a look at that. It's funny, but Robinson's Retail is still doing a buyback transactions. BDO has a material information transaction. A lot of buybacks here on Mega World, share buyback on DRN, PHN. Jollibee has an acquisition to share. Whoa, let's take a look at that. Okay, let's read everything together first. So here in this report, Jollibee is saying that they're acquiring a number of shares here at about 180 pesos. That would be Hyper Dynamic Corporation. It is acquiring how many shares? Something in the realm of, well, 9 times, what's this, 45, and then 12, 57, C, siyang sa D69, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So about 99,000 shares or about 100,000 shares, or what's that? 100,000 shares. Pakwe siyang chichang si pakwe sa chang tangwe chusi tapwe tanga chusi 18 million guys. So 18 million pesos was bought on Jollibee by Hyperdynamic, telling you that there's somebody who believes that whether Jollibee falls down in the next coming days, wow, this is a great opportunity to accumulate as many shares as I could, because my view, let's say, is that Jollibee will revive and recover in the next maybe 6 months or 12 months. It's not a day. Like some people are willing to buy it and accumulate it and hold it for quite a while. Now, there's also good news to share. you've got Robinson's Retail also buying back the shares. It says that the amount for the share buyback is 2 billion pesos. So while the shares are below 60, somebody is doing a lot of share purchases, specifically 300,000 shares at 60 pesos roughly. So again, that would be sapa siyang lak chusi tang kwea, chusi takwe tang kasi lak ko. So it's about 18 million both. So there's 18 million pesos of buybacks on Robinson's Retail and another 18 million pesos of well, not really a buyback on Jollibee. It's just an acquisition by Hyper Dynamic, which is an affiliate of Jollibee. So you're seeing that insiders and shares of the owner are being bought. So it's a sign of confidence. Di ko hype. Basically, it's just a sign of confidence. That's a good thing. All right, what is the news? ABS-CBN appointing a new chief of officers. So let's see, Chief Operating Officer Aldrin M. Cirado is now going to be the worldwide content development and distribution subsidiary. He will succeed Oliva Chinky de Jesus, who decided to retire January 31. He has served as CFO and Chief Compliance Officer of ABS-CBN, so he's going to be the Chief Operating Officer. All right, so he is in charge of distributing ABS-CBN content to Filipinos. So hopefully that the I Want TFC service will prosper. So this is the new CEO of ABS-CBN Global. Good. I really don't know much about talent management, so I don't know. But he was CFO, and he's going to be in charge of the worldwide content development and distribution subsidiary. Okay, so Mr. Aldrin Cirado, let's take a look at the search bar here. What can we say about Mr. Aldrin Cirado? Looks at records with lawyers at a hearing. ABS-CBN has no tax delinquency. Shift chases consumer eyeballs going digital. So CFO Aldrin Cirado knows that the launching of the streaming app of I Want currently has 12 million registered users and 2 million active monthly users. So the future is all about streaming. So will ABS-CBN be able to adapt? What I do know, guys, is that there's several providers. So in the US, there's Limelight Network helping companies like your Roku, your HBO Max. And actually, there's Magnite, MGNI, who I know is already working with ABS-CBN prior to Magnite being Magnite. Magnite being Telaria before. So I read in a couple of news before, like maybe about a year ago, that ABS-CBN is really focused on that digitalization, that streaming. So in my view, we'll just need to see whether the shift to the digital world will be successful for ABS-CBN. So this is actually 2019. See that? ABS-CBN is investing to the digital consumer for mobile devices. We want to invest in something, and we know that the future will come back as a revenue and we will break even. The eyeballs are now in digital. Yahoo, Google, Facebook are the ones generating most of the advertising revenues. Well, actually, it's not Yahoo. We're talking about Google, Facebook. Yeah, I would agree with that. It may be true, not be true yet, but we want to be positioned with what happens in the future. ABS-CBN has done a lot, including YouTube, Facebook, as well as domain ABS-CBN.com. So far, ABS has 15 million subscribers. ABS-CBN News has 5.6 million. Direct-to-home service has 1.2 million subscribers and is now profitable, Cirado said. So we're going to expand more content offering to the international space through the Filipino channel so that we could increase our revenue. So we'll see whether this Chief Operating Officer, Mr. Alvin Cirado, is a good transformation play for ABS-CBN. Why don't we actually take a look at ABS-CBN before we continue to reading other news? Ticker symbol ABS-CBN, so its ticker symbol is ABS. Today is about 12.9, 1.1%. So for the entire year, ABS still is languishing from a high of about $23.25 pesos, 25 pesos here, fell down all the way to about 7 pesos here. It has rallied, but not really. You could see that it has still fallen below this 15-16 area, but it's still above this, it's above 7, it's also above 11. So it's in the median range. So it's nowhere in the top, but it's nowhere overbought, but it's neither oversold. So what we see here is actually this interest still. You have news, but people are still not too greedy about what exactly is happening to ABS-CBN's transition to the digital foray. Nonetheless, from a chart perspective, guys, this is actually a gap fill. You see here that there was a gap up here. The reason being that ABS-CBN had an announcement during that day that Tito Soto, the Senator Tito Soto, was trying to renew a franchise agreement of ABS-CBN. So you could see that it went from about as low as, what's this price, 11.58, to as high as 15. So I could clearly see, guys, that the risk of a downside on ABS-CBN is somewhere maybe here in the 11.70 or maybe in the 12 peso region. So that's about 7-8% lower. And then if you're right, the upside could be as high as 16. And more so, you know that the upside could be as high as 24 or 23 if it can really function as a very well transformed digitalization format. So it's very cheap, but we don't know whether they would really have those digital advertising revenues. The main game of these types of industries I want is not just subscription fees. They can't do a Netflix type. Well, probably some people would say yes, but I'd say that it's a combination of subscription and a combination of it's subscription and a lot of advertising. Subscription is possible because I see news being a Spotify podcast friendly zone. So they can actually have YouTube platforms indeed. So they did say that it's about 15 million subscribers. Some people might opt to pay those 11 million eyeballs in that YouTube. So advertising wise, we'll see. It's really an execution game. So yeah. All right. Look, what else do we want to share? Okay, the news. Let's read these. BDO Unibank. Material information. All right, so this is more about their balance sheet. What else? This is again what? PBCom, also statement of conditions. So most of your banks are actually sharing their balance sheet and balance sheet. So East West, so all your banks, East West, Security Bank, BDO and PBCom released their material information on their balance sheet. So balance sheet wise, let's take a look. Even if we haven't seen the prices, the market's reaction in the banks has been fairly muted when you take a look at the charts. So East West is still here at about 9.75, 10 pesos. So it has just pulled back. You'll see that there was an uptrend here all the way from as low as 6 pesos and then higher low here at 7.50 and now trading at 10 bucks. Still though, in the long-term game, you still see that there's a lot of resistances. East West still has resistance at 18, still got resistance here at 12, still got resistance here at 15. So you see that the market is able to ignore what happened with the bank teller scandal about 100, was it a bank teller or yeah. So let's take a look at that news. Besides the 100 million bank, the client of an East West bank actually had a 100 million siphoned out, right? So that was the news. And quickly, East West Bank solved that problem by taking over the loss. So it was in the news, right? Spent more than, was it 100 million or was it 200 million? East West Bank client loses, investigates the millions worth of missing deposits. So about 3 weeks ago, there was a report that a businessman lost as much as 270 million pesos. Probing two long-time depositors who lost, and East West protected the depositors and customers' money. So there. So far, actually, I wanted to share though that in India, for instance, the Central Bank of India, I was reading it actually early morning. They were trying to set up something like, you call it like a bad bank, but it's not really a bad bank. It's more like a bank that houses all the bad loans so that all the alternative funds can take a look at those bad loans and see whether which loan here is really bad or which loan here is just a distressed asset today that I can collect in the future. So right now, I think when you look at the bank's balance sheets, not just in the Philippine market, everyone, all the Asian banks, all even the worldwide banks, they're all trying to see how they can actually unwind a potential net performance loan, what we call that, the NPL ratio, the risk, diba? The net provision loss. So banks really went conservative, going all the way down to see whether the Filipinos can possibly not pay them, so that if the Filipinos suddenly pay them, so basically what they think is, maybe this is a bad debt collateral, so they won't pay me anymore. So they already took in the loss in 2020. Hopefully in 2021, that's what you want to see from their earnings reports, that in their balance sheet, it's already conservative. They want to just sell what these bad assets are to distressed asset funds and so forth. It's been happening worldwide. And so there's actually some distressed vulture investors taking a look at these types of loans, whether it be credit card or housing loans, etc. Now on East West Bank, of course, so nobody is now actually buzzing about this news 3 weeks ago. So yeah, guess that they kind of fixed that news 3 weeks ago. They fixed that depositor customer. What else? Sige, let's take a look further on Robinsons Retail. We actually already said that Robinsons Retail was a great company. Why is it a great company? Because the cash flows are there, the pharmacy supermarkets are there, so it's not a bad company to actually invest in. So we will repeat what exactly is happening in Robinsons Retail. So Robinsons Retail is actually a company that listed in the Philippine market about 5 years ago. Was it 5 years ago? Let's see. Was it 5 years ago or was it like 7 years ago already? And they listed at 57 pesos. So actually, the price today of 58 pesos is just the same as the IPO price. So let's take a look at the further back here. So here, that was about 2014. It got listed actually at 58, fell down all the way to 40. What's this low? 48. And then it acquired over time South Star Drug, expanded Mini Stop. So for a long time, actually, Robinsons Retail was not falling below that 60 peso mark. It was very rare. So you had really that IPO initial drop from about 58 to 48, the first scare. But ever since then, it was always able to remain above 56. No? So here it was above 56 during the 2016 drop. And during the COVID pandemic drop, it did fall at about 44, but everything fell anyway during March. So that was the only time that it actually fell below 56 for a longer time and quickly rebounded all the way from about 44 to 72. So what we can clearly see here is that, yes, there are resistances at about 70 and 78, 75, 70. You can even argue that there is a strong resistance here at about 67, where all the supply is now clustered in, right? So you've got these buyers now acting as your initial resistances, just like these buyers are also acting as initial resistances. That is where these buyers actually resided, thinking that there was a double support, perhaps, which got broken down from 80 all the way to 48. Robinsons Retail is now seeing a strong resistance at 67. But the question is Robinsons Retail here at 58 a great opportunity to buy? 58 all the way to 56, even lower than 48. So should we actually assign a buy rating today on Robinsons Retail? Why don't we take a look? From a chart perspective, I think that the risk on the downside is low, 2 pesos versus your upside. So we put a buy rating on Robinsons Retail. Also, just for clarity, let's take a look. So we should take a look, why is the market selling off Robinsons Retail? So we actually saw that in their supermarkets, they are a very diversified company. They're losing on some, but they're also winning on some parts. So the latest disclosures is that the company is really buying back. Notice that 25, 26, 27, 28, that's been consistent, no? Even 21. So every January, every day of the month, Robinsons Retail has been in a non-stop buying spree. That's a good thing. If you're a bullish person, what exactly are you buying an ownership of in Robinsons Retail? So let's just read. Says here that Robinsons owns Robinsons Supermarket, Robinsons Supercenter, Department Store, Handyman, True Value, Robinsons Builders, Mini Stop, South Star Drug, The Generics Pharmacy, Pet Lover Center, Robinsons Appliances, Sabres Appliances, Toys R Us, Daiso Japan, Club Clio, Top Shop, Top Man, Dorothy Perkins, Burton Menswear, Miss Selfridge Warehouse, Benefit, the skincare brand, Shiseido, Elizabeth Arden. So it's good to actually take a look on their shareholding structure, as well as their organizational structure, as well as a few stories about them. So let's take a look at their investor presentations yet again. So this is a company with a lot of highlights and a dividend to boot. So let's take a look at all these accomplishments of Robinsons Retail over the last 6-7 years. So should we actually buy this company while it's actually giving us a very low price? So again, take a look at these. Please go to the website. These are all the entities that are all with your reach, within your reach, if you are going to invest in Robinson's Retail Holdings. Okay, so again, let's take a look at the presentation. I'm downloading today the presentation, the investor's presentation of 3Q. So download. It's downloading, right? All right. So it's about a minute left. Let's wait for it to download. And while it's loading, I'll read to you the shareholding structures. So you've got JE Holdings, 30%. You've got non-Filipinos, 25%. You've got Filipinos, 25%. Mulgrave Corporation, 12%. All the Gokongwei family, 4, 1, 0.4, 0.13. So you see here, they own a majority stake. We're talking about 300 million, 100 million, 90 million. So if you ever accomplish about a 50 million peso investment on Robinson's Retail, that would be just 1 million shares today. So you will never be a 1% shareholder. I'll never see you in the top 10. To be in the top 10, 32 million times 60, even at 60, let's say satsap lola, satsap siyang laksap chusi, saputot hangpwe bila, 1.8 B. We're not talking about millions, we're talking about 1.8 billion, right? Tama ba math ko, guys? 10 million shares times 60 is 600 million. So 130 million shares is 1.8 billion. Just to be a part of like the top 10, you kind of need to muster up 1.8 billion pesos. If you're a billionaire, go ahead, be a shareholder now. Let's take a look. Robinson's Retail has these 9 months earnings reports shared on October 29, 2020. So they said that they've got 1,853 stores plus 2,053 TGP branches nationwide. They've got a 1.5 square meters in gross floor area. Their net income in a year is about 2.4 billion pesos. Gross profit margin is about 21% of sales. So these are their stores. They've got the supermarket, 70 billion. Department stores is 5 billion. The do-it-yourself is your handyman kits, that true value, that's 7.7 billion. Your convenience stores, which are your mini stops, are 3.4 billion. The drug stores, which are the generics pharmacy and South Star drugs, that would be 13.7. And lastly, your Top Man, Top Shop, Dorothy Perkins warehouse is 9.2 billion pesos for a total sales of 110 billion pesos for 9 months 2020. So 65% of your sales, or a majority of it, is on essential consumer goods. So if you're shopping supermarket stuff, then likely you're actually using some Robinson's Retail. So you've got these branches all over the Philippine map. So it's a supermarket play, a diversified department store play, la la la. So 70-30, just to keep your understanding very fast, no? So 1,000 stores in Luzon, 300 stores in Visayas, and about 200 stores in Mindanao. So, but that means that everything, so if you're just talking about supermarkets, you have to add 111 plus 100 plus 36 plus 16. So, kel, chusi, doatsi, ng pa, tsap, it. Sorry guys, pag nagmamata ako, nag-Chinese ako. 216, gotsa di, pa gotsa di, nga gotsa di, nga laksasa. So it's 263 supermarkets. Not bad. What is the market cap of Robinson's Retail Holdings today? Let's take a look at that. Market cap is Scouts up B. So it's so the price to sales, guys, hindi naman intentional. Napapahokin ako kasi pag nagmamath ako, sanay na yung brain ko na mag-San Jose na math. Nagmamath ako sa brain using Hokkien. Hindi ko intentionally yung maintindihan. So 90 billion pesos, that means na 9 months lang, na-hit na niya yung 100 billion peso market cap. It tells you a lot, guys, because when you study the market caps of all the world, usually a supermarket, usually a diversified department store, kasi hindi naman to just department store. So you have to compare this Robinson's Retail with Walmart. And, well, you could argue now, well, Walmart has many entities, more stores, true, and more sales, true again. It's about, Walmart is what, $500 billion? Tama ba? 500 or $300 billion sales? Si Amazon, $100 billion in a quarter. So anyway, sa US, pag-usapan natin yun later. Either way, not bad actually. Maganda yung sales ni Robinsons Retail. And they're saying that they've got 20% gross margin. Not bad. That's huge, guys. Your Pure Golds would, sabagay, Pure Gold is not a department store. It's just a supermarket. But gross profit of 20% blended is good. That's good. So let's take a look at the net profit. EBITDA margin is 8. Blended yan because we're talking about overall decline in disposable income, the rise in hyperlocals, and social commerce. So what they're saying is that they need to do more direct-to-consumer approach because dumadami yung kalaban. The competition is not just your SMs, the competition is not your Pure Gold, but actually direct selling, D2C. This is a huge secular trend, guys, direct-to-consumer. So they're saying na that's true. Amazon is doing a lot of direct-to-consumer through their marketplaces as well. So they have a third-party marketplace wherein people can sell on their Amazon marketplace. Those are not necessarily Amazon goods. And then there's also Shopify, which is helping people to do direct selling. So, of course, you can also do Shopee in the Philippines and Lazada, wherein you can do direct selling. Kunwari, gusto magbenta ng spam, gusto magbenta ng mga kung ano-ano sa ganyan, you know that you can shop it either on Instagram, which is Facebook, you can shop it in all of these, right? So that is a competition. Like, example, if I'm gonna order some clothing, I can choose from Dorothy Perkins, but I can also choose anywhere online. So those are becoming their competition. Agree naman. So every retail today has it's necessity to have an omni-channel presence. Department stores, really, yes, this is the hardest hit. So you could see that it's a 55% decline from 11.9 to 5 billion. So that's true. Any department store in the world, guys, whether it's Macy's, pwede kang tagalin to, guys. Mamaya na to. Whether it's Macy's, whether it's Nordstrom, they became actually 70% down in USA. And they only recovered because the expecting reopening and a little bit of short squeeze na rin. So whether that was Macy's, whether that was Kohl's department store or Nordstrom. In fact, some of the department stores hindi na kinaya, nagsarado na si Neiman Marcus in USA. So I can understand some people are getting very scared na, well, the department store, you call it the retail apocalypse. Now, we don't believe so. We are in the Philippines. We believe that in the next 6 to 12 months that, that department store will recover, SM department stores will recover, and so forth. So this 50% decline is more of an aberration rather than a secular trend. Nonetheless, you cannot assume na they can recover fast. That's the only point. Hindi ka makaka-recover very fast. So they have about 49 stores there. Your do-it-yourself segment, patay din, 30% down. Your convenience store segment, patay din, 30% down. Drugstores was flat. And then your specialty stores down 30%. Everything, no? All the department stores. So I would say that they're trying to do e-commerce. So this is what they're saying. So na 5x na nila yung e-commerce na sales. But from a total sales perspective, it's very small. So they've done the COVID-19 essentials, the same-day delivery service. We shop convenience, shop with delivery within. They acquired Rose Pharmacy as well. So to be honest, in the Philippines, Robinsons Retail Holdings is also one of the world's best employers. RRHI is even the Forbes best employers list. Remember that we heard that Jollibee, guys, was also there. Ayun si Jollibee Foods, oh, tada! So those are actually great things to be proud of as a Filipino, to invest in companies that you can actually see in the Forbes best workplaces of the world. Diba? On August 12, 2020, Mr. Cirilo Noel was appointed as RRHI's newest independent director, embedding sustainability, my farmer to table, locally grown, fresh from the farm. I think that this group right now is being underpaid, guys. This management is underpaid by the market. Income, all right. I know that the income is bad for this year, but it's not that bad. 2020 managed to still get 9.3 billion of EBITDA, just flat almost, no? 10.4 to 9.3. It's not like demolished to the 50% ground. They even had net income where everyone else is not okay. You even have balance sheet strength goals. Goals to, guys. Goals to na balance sheet. 130 billion pesos of balance sheet on assets. A lot of that is cash, 42 billion. Trades and other receivables, merchandise inventory, cash and equivalents, your current assets is pretty high. So, and there's not a lot of debt with this company. So I know that it's time's up, 30 minutes. I know that you might have more questions, but I'll just read it for tomorrow. I don't have time to answer a lot of questions, guys. Miss Nikki, seems that the market is done with recent basuras. Ano po possible strategy we can look into pag ganitong setting? Actually, those are di ko naman kasi masyado pinapansin kahit na mag 5x pa yung mga basura. Pero I think like what's important to you, to everyone's strategy is really to understand your style. I think that you have to learn that for me, I like to make money while I'm sleeping. So I'll try to find a company na bibilhin ko siya, tapos let's say hindi ko siya tingnan for the next couple of days, okay lang, kahit na months, sige, matulugin mo yan. As long as I can live with the fact na pag bumaba yan, alam ko naman na 58 to 48, kaya ko yan i-muster up to buy. And then even if it doesn't go down, okay lang, 58 to 60, okay then. Basta there's a tolerable level, that level. So I could buy and then I wait. If the market doesn't believe in the story, doesn't believe in the numbers, takes a while, okay lang din. So you have to admit that diversification is just really how, that's my magical rule, diversification, not just in the Philippines, but also worldwide. What is your opinion on Cebu Pacific SRO? Is it okay to get or it has better options like Fly and RLC REITs? The Cebu Preferreds, convertible preferred ba siya? I haven't read it. Sa SEB ba siya or sa GGS? So I'm not quite sure. Hi, Nikki. Thoughts on Dito, Asin, and MM? Yeah, so I'm not really sure. I think these are just mostly charts. This would be the last answer, and then I'll call it a day. Dito, Asin, and MM. Okay, so Dito has rallied, what, 13, 14? So I still think na this is already too high, extended na siya. So whether you were entering high or low, parang tapos na or you're very late na. So it's more in the tapos na yung greed, tapos na rin yung euphoria, nasa insanity zone ka na. So at these insanity zones, I call it the boiling frog. A boiling frog doesn't know na, so when you boil a frog, pag mainit ka agad, alam niya, tadlo-tadlon yan. So the boiling frog is a reality wherein most Filipinos, not just Filipinos guys, even the abroad, they don't know that they're being slowly cooked. And then when they're cooked na, they're dead na. They didn't realize it. Namatay na sila. So I'm not saying na you're gonna get cooked, but extended na rin. So it's, to me, an extension. A boiling frog is actually an idiom. So you can actually see that. Boiling frog. What does boiling frog mean? So ano yan? The boiling frog doesn't really know that he's gonna be slowly cooked. It's a metaphor as the inability of people to react to significant changes that occurs gradually or events that have become commonplace. So try nyo yan if you really want. Magpa-boil kayo ng frog, tapos hindi yan, pag malamig yung tubig, hindi niya talaga malalaman na binuboil mo siya. Ano yan? Tapos slow cook mo lang siya. Parang pressure cooker mo siya. Kala niya, wow, sarap dito, hot water. Crank it up a few more. Wala siyang brains eh. Hindi niya alam na binoil mo na siya eh. So yon, slowly boiling in a pan, in a pot, yon. The boiling frog syndrome. If you throw a frog into a pot of boiling water, he jumps out. But if you put it in a pot of cold water, turn the heat on low, it will float there quite placidly. So yon, wake up, it's already quite late. You could be the boiling frog. Okay, Asen. Let's take a look. Asen, ganun din ata. Boiling frog na rin to. Extended na, guys. Boiling frog to. Dito, Asen MM, if you're gonna ask me, the typical answer here is a boiling frog. Extended na to. No matter if you say fundamentals, hindi pa to super nag-insane, pero still, after this insanity, bagsak, nag-correct, range to eh. This is a range. Higher low ka sa 6, sure. Then resistance 8, 10, 9, and 10. Mary Mart. Range play lang yan, guys. Range din to. So, ganun din. Ganito. Yeah, agreed. Trend. Okay, range to eh. This is just a range. 6 to 8. You've got real resistances here at 8. So, I think like both Mary Mart and Asen dito extended. Thank you very much, guys. Happy boiling frogs. Thank you. Bye-bye.